Hey, broads.
Hey, quarantine broads.
Nice.
Thank you. So Bekah and I are recording this. What day is it? On Sunday, March 15th. We're dropping this on Thursday.
March 15th.
March 15th.
5:02 p.m.
The COVID Chronicles. And
That's a whole mini podcast series in and of itself.
honestly,
I like it.
So we're dropping this Thursday. At this point, Lord knows what's up in the air. So just want to make that clear. I'm going to keep doing that, by the way, every time we record a podcast, so that like something huge didn't happen. And then all the broads are like, wait, are you guys just not going to talk about what just happened? This is recorded in advance. Okay.
Yes.
Also, speaking of that, Bekah and I are currently sitting next to each other on a couch in our private, Cloroxed clean studio alone.
Yeah, this is Jess's backyard, by the way.
This is my backyard. But there's definitely a chance that coming up will keep you guys in the loop. But there is a chance, especially with you being preg.
I mean, this is probably what we will do for a number of reasons. One, I'm pregnant, and then also just for full transparency. Like, normally Grayson's parents are helping out with Ruth. They're older, they're more susceptible for a number of reasons, and so we're probably going to try to cut that and like quarantine ourselves from susceptible family members. And it's a little bit difficult time finding a babysitter and all this. Anyway, and we wanted to prepare because after I give birth, we're going to start doing some episodes remotely. So we're probably going to try next week. We'll see when it happens.
Yeah. But just to give you guys a heads up, we're going to probably end up having to do remote podcasts just for the health and wellness of everyone. And, we're getting that dialed in now so that it all sounds
hopefully it shouldn't compromise too much of production, but just wanted to give a heads up.
And then also YouTube might be a little different. Yeah. So just wanted to keep you broads in the loop. Also, we want
to keep bringing that entertainment.
We want to bring the entertainment. And guess what? We're not going anywhere.
Literally.
We are not.
We're not leaving our homes.
We are literally not leaving our homes. Our significant others probably have no work for 3 months, so we're really not going anywhere. Also, if I start to do more ads on Instagram, I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know now they're going to be coming, because if they're offered, I'm taking them, because, someone's going to pay the bills. Also, with that being said, over the next few weeks, like I said, Bekah and I, we are not going anywhere. But if for some reason, there are little hiccups or days are switched with podcasts, the plan is still Tuesday, Thursday. But just
bear with us.
Bear with us, broads.
Breathe and bear with us.
We know you will. You're a lovely, loving bunch, a lovely, loving broad squad. But let's stay a broad squad strong during this, and we all want to support each other. And sometimes that means that Bekah and I, because of our family and the situation, it just might take a little time of adjusting. Like, we're all going to be adjusting during this time. But before, okay, so.
All right, so we're going to fully get into Love is Blind, which we're so excited about today.
I am so excited.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't that excited at first because I had watched like the first 20 to 30 minutes of it, and I was like, this is kind of a snooze fest, and I had turned it off like a month ago maybe.
I did the exact same thing. So when we had talked about recapping, because everyone was like, this show's amazing, you have to recap it, I was kind of like, really?
I know,
because the first 30 minutes too. But then it took a turn, and I am sucked in. Also, obviously, we know that these were recorded a long time ago.
Oh, and that everything's out.
Everything's out. Bekah and I, we know most of you have watched it already. Bekah and I are going to be watching episode by episode and giving you our opinions as we see them. We are trying to remain as far away. I don't know
anything about any of these people except what I've seen on the first episode.
So we are going to do our very best to continue. So please don't give us spoilers. Don't send anything in, because we want to remain.
Unless you have like background info on contestants. Sure. Send that our way. But there may have this thing this thing may happen where like, if you've already watched the whole season and there's a character arc with frickin' Jamie. I don't know if there's someone named Jamie.
And you're like, hate Barnett. He seems like an asshole. And then all of a sudden he becomes like this lovely human being, and you find out all this stuff about him.
Angel on earth.
Yeah.
we're watching it episode by episode, so bear with us with that.
So, we may say stuff that's
It's real time.
Get you real mad, but we're gonna find out and discover these humans as we go.
Try to put yourself in the journey we're taking, which is the feelings episode by episode.
It's like you're sitting down with your best friend who's never watched your favorite TV show.
Who's never read Harry Potter.
Exactly. Oh, what a beautiful. And I literally almost was like about to give a Harry Potter spoiler. And then I realized a lot of broads may be like, hey, I need something to read. And I've never read Harry Potter during the quarantine. So I'm not going to give any spoilers away. Okay. This is a 0 spoiler zone. But we are going to say that, by the way, at the start of every single episode,
so everyone knows.
Because if we have new listeners coming in who are like, oh, it's a Love is Blind recap. And then they're like, what are these girls talking about? That everyone knows that we are watching it episode by episode and we don't have any spoilers. So that's all.
Totally.
And we're going to keep reminding you about it. So sorry, it's going to get redundant and annoying. But we also don't want to get flooded with DMs from if there's new listeners that they're like, wow, you guys are really out of line. And we're like, we should make a note on the podcast. Like, what? I don't know how we make a note on the, in the episode notes, going episode by episode.
This is being watched one episode at a time.
This is kind of live.
Yeah.
So Bekah, before we talk about Love is Blind, do you want to have a little Bachelor conversation? Bro. What? It was like over 2 days, all the COVID stuff was hitting and all the Bachelor drama was hitting.
I know.
And I was like, what's happening right now?
I know.
Not to compare the two by any means, but it was like, wow, everything is going up in flames.
So, I mean, the funny thing is that so much of our episode when we were covering the Bachelor finale was talking like Madison and Peter were going to continue their relationship. You know what I mean? A lot of us were talking about like, well, it's not gonna happen because of this, or they're gonna eventually.
Well, we just kept saying we give it like 2 months.
You
max.
gave him 2 months. It was 2 days.
2 days. 2 days. 2 days. Also, the irony is that, before that second day hit, got a lot of heat about some of our opinions, and then they broke up in 48 hours.
What were people giving a shit for? I just didn't even look.
Oh, people just think we hate Maddie.
Whatever, bro. Maybe it's just that everyone loves Maddie and we're trying to give a different opinion.
Yeah, I think it's just like, I
just don't stand her. That's all. Do I hate her? No.
No, we're just not stands. I have no problem with her. I think that she, clearly, also, who the hell am I to say? Because guess what? You know how hard I am, how hard I roll? I got maybe 30,000 followers. Maddie has 2 million, so who cares what I say? Maddie clearly won. So I don't hate her at all, but that was really the only thing. But we don't. We were just coming at it from different angles.
I will say this. Okay, so they broke up, and I'm guessing it probably had a lot to do with how the live finale went down, realistically.
I would imagine.
Which makes a lot of sense. It really does.
But some weird shit started coming out.
Okay, yeah.
Jack?
Kelley?
Okay, first of all, Kelley.
Okay, Jack, first of all, though.
Okay. So Jack posted some...
Damn it, I wish I had a post that had that screenshot of all the different comments he had replied to people with.
So yeah, I don't have them either, but Jack was kind of going on a rampage, Peter's brother, and was making comments basically like, wow, you really didn't see the Maddie, like basically comments saying you really didn't see the Maddie we saw. Editing really painted her a certain way.
Yeah.
And was like,
he was basically just saying like, there's a lot you don't see.
And there's like a lot of reasons that the family isn't a fan of her. And I was like, whoa, Jack, can you come on the podcast and spill the tea? Are you under ABC contract? Because my God.
And I don't want to
get him on.
I don't want, maybe.
Get him to call in. Ooh, I'm so excited. Broads, hit up Jack.
Go and tell him to go speak his truth on the Chatty Broads podcast.
Tell him he needs to come on, and you know how you can put it? You can be like, defend your family, defend Barb.
Or you could even just be like, you should really listen to this episode because it was really whatever. Yeah. And then be like, and you should go on their podcast.
Because
Broads, please
hit up Jack. Please hit up Jack, because if we can get Jack on, I don't know how the contract would work ABC wise, but
I don't think he has a contract.
Probably not.
He probably has an NDA.
Oh my God.
I don't know though, but he's commenting away, you know? Who knows? But, I don't want to give
it. Will be our final source.
I don't want to give it too much weight, but also like, but you know, Barb's, there's a lot happening over there. But then also with Jack, I'm like, I have a tendency to sort of like take some weight into what he's saying.
Why do I trust Jack?
Well, like
There's
because you
something
think
about
of it
him.
like your sibling. Like if my little sister was commenting that back on Instagram to people, there would be a reason. Like like a sibling that's not that much younger and all that. Like
Unless he's trying to, I mean, he's just coming to the defense of his family.
That's
His family's getting blasted online. His brother and his mom. Jim didn't really get a lot of heat.
Jack seemed really like even like disappointed when they're showing him and stuff. Like,
and it was interesting that Jack was not at the finale. This I would like to know about. Was he flying? Maybe. But part of me likes to imagine that Jack refused to go.
Well, but also, like we said, there might have been like limited audience or something because Hannah Ann's family wasn't there and neither was Maddie's, or they didn't show them on camera.
Oh, so apparently ABC did make people going in sign waivers because of COVID. So people went in and they had to get to make sure that they hadn't been going to other countries or whatever. Okay. So maybe that had to do with it. But I think then they would have just limited the audience members. I don't know. They should have just had it in a small room with just the family to family.
Families.
No, all three families. Mm-hmm. Chris Harrison and his family.
Facial expressions.
For some reason.
I want facial expression cams in every corner of the screen.
It would look like what's that one show? Or it's like Brady Bunch style. Yeah. Everyone's just like
making faces left and right.
But apparently, Barb didn't know the camera was on her, and Chris Harrison didn't know there was a Barb cam either. So the Barb cam was sneaky. Sneaky business.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So they broke up.
Apparently, there's a lot of rumors going around that Kelley and Peter hooked up in the interim between Hannah Ann and Madison.
There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of secondhand talk. I tend to believe it.
I like to believe anything I hear.
I really do. I mean, there's been a lot of... He said, she said, my great aunt's cousin's gardener's boyfriend's hairdresser told me this kind of shit. But I was seeing it from multiple sources of Peter's family, even talking to people at the finale, or something about Peter's mom's friends talking about it.
And again, the fact that his whole family follows Kelley and nobody else.
And Barb's commenting stuff like we should go shopping soon. Mm-hmm. And she also said you're the most brave, sweet, beautiful,
yeah, we
whatever,
talked about that.
blah, blah,
I mean,
ever.
It's I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. Also, especially because neither of them has really spoken out about it. And then people were saying that that's the reason she wasn't invited. Well, and Chris said that thing about her that he didn't follow through on.
Yes, it's very important.
He said
you're huh?
It's
what?
important that she's here.
Well, but apparently her and Peter aren't together. And Nick posted that photo with him and her. And then all Bachelor Nation was like, wow, you guys are so cute. I don't know this because we haven't spoken to Nick about it. But
they're not dating. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's a like bait.
It's a thirst trap.
Clickbait, thirst trap. Yeah, no.
Even though, gosh, that photo, they would be stunning together.
They looked great.
I was
they looked
damn,
great.
Okay.
Kelley has never looked hotter. She looks amazing.
I know, she looks amazing. And the two of them are very, very lovely together. And I actually like that vibe together.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I definitely don't think they're anywhere near together though. Yeah. But so there's that.
So now also, by the way, Claire's season is currently postponed for filming, which I sure hope that we get it.
Which they said at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If not more. It'll probably be more.
It'll probably be more. And then part of me wonders if...
Because how long
what if they decide to make Maddie the Bachelorette instead?
Shut the fuck up.
She's got 2 million followers.
They wouldn't. There's no way they would take that away from Claire. Chris Harrison said in his video on Instagram, Claire, you are still my Bachelorette. There's no way they would do her dirty like that. What if all of a sudden
someone...
But the guys are also cast for her.
Someone digs up bad shit about Claire and it gets revealed, and maybe that someone are producers because they are trying to get Claire out because they know that Maddie's season's going to be more watched. Sipping the tea.
I'm shook. But also, yeah, it has to be at least 2 weeks unless they're just doing in-country travel because... there's a chance that they could get stuck in another country.
I know.
And wouldn't be able to fly back to the U.S.
I would just imagine that they're going to film the whole thing in Los Angeles.
Or at least in California. I mean,
Yeah.
you could 100% do a whole season in California and it could be beautiful.
Yeah, the liability, though, would be crazy to have that many people on set, all the camera crew, all the producers, all those people.
Just
I
in
feel like-
general,
just
yeah.
in general, yeah.
Even if they keep it in LA.
And
They'd have to do like a Big
one
Brother
person
scenario.
has it. One person has it.
It's a huge
Everybody gets
liability.
it. Yeah, it's a huge liability. So I think it's going to be postponed for quite a while. So
And same with Paradise. Paradise is supposed to be
I
filmed
know
in June.
we may be doing some random recaps. Maybe we will do your season.
Seriously. But anyway,
Okay, so before we get into Love is Blind, officially, the excitement, let's talk about this. I am already feeling cabin fever. I'm feeling it pretty hard already with this corona quarantine situation. I do picture some wine drinking at nights in my future, which cheers, hey, nothing new. So thank God I'm all stocked up on my DHM detox because being stuck inside for days on end is tough enough without also feeling the effects of a few too many glasses of white wine. Do you feel me,
especially
Broads?
when you have nowhere to be in the morning,
you
you
got
know?
nowhere to be in the morning.
Oh man, judging by the total empty wine shelves at Trader Joe's, I have a feeling that a lot of other people will be calling on their DHM detox after quarantine drinking, and for good reason. DHM detox is an optimized blend of natural ingredients, antioxidants, and vitamins that help boost your body's natural response to alcohol. You just take 2 capsules after your first couple drinks, and it helps to break down those pesky toxins.
No matter what, DHM Detox is part of my life anytime there's a drink involved because it guarantees I'll wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go without nausea, brain fog, anxiety, or headaches. And I really do get those very easily. DHM Detox is not just for the rage city nights, okay? It's not just a party thing. I'm at home, if I'm being honest, most of the time with my kiddo. But I do feel hungover so easily. And for me, it's after like 1 or 2 glasses of wine. I'll feel that headachy, foggy effect. But DHM Detox has completely fixed that for me.
How important is your next day? Because for just a couple dollars, you can wake up feeling fine after a night out drinking or night in drinking. And they have free shipping on all orders in the US. So DHM Detox is also a risk-free purchase because if you aren't satisfied after taking the product, they'll give you your money back. This is a no-brainer. You can get 20% off your order by heading to dhmdetox.com and use promo code Chatty at checkout. That's dhmdetox.com. Promo code Chatty, 20% off your order.
All right, Broads. Well, fertility is such a tricky subject. It's so deeply personal for every woman and family, but for such a personal subject, the guidance has more often than not been very generic, somewhere along the lines of keep trying or just wait and see. With tools to help us plan and track everything in our lives, from finances to steps in careers, why is fertility still just wait and see?
That's exactly why Modern Fertility was created. It's the easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label and you'll get your personalized results within 10 days. It's so fast. And if you want kids today or maybe one day, this is the information you need to put you on the right path. By the way, I have a friend who decided to use Modern Fertility, wasn't planning on getting pregnant anytime soon.
Okay.
And she got some red flags back with her testing and was able to start going in and seeing a fertility doctor and making a plan before even starting to try.
That's so cool.
Really important.
That's so important. This really is an in-depth look at all things fertility. You'll get insight into how many eggs you have, hormone levels, and like Bekah was saying, any reproductive red flags. The results go completely in depth into what every hormone means. You can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and options. Traditional doctor's office testing can be so expensive, but with Modern Fertility, you'll pay only $159 for the exact same information. And without that, normally it's like thousands of dollars.
Yes. And right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. That means your test will cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. That's modernfertility.com/chatty. And it's so important because even if your insurance covers it, my insurance, I have like an $8,000 deductible that I have to meet.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's going to take a lot to get it there,
I know,
you know?
I know. It's so crazy.
Anyway.
All right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Oh my God. Okay.
All
Let's talk about this.
Okay, first of all, I just wanted to bring up, I found it online. I just want to bring up a quick thing of the contestants because this was something I was getting a little confused on. Sometimes they wouldn't keep the names up very long.
I was struggling with that.
We didn't
this
see
first
at all.
episode, there was a lot of people we didn't see.
So
I feel like
I'm just going to go over real quick their ages and what they do and where they're from, just so we've got that.
Beautiful.
We've got Matt.
Okay.
Don't really remember who that is.
Okay.
27 years old, engineer. Oh, it's Matt Barnett. He goes by his last name.
Oh.
His first name's not Barnett.
Oh,
That's right.
okay.
He said that during the episode.
I was like, this sounds familiar to me.
27, engineer. Doesn't say where he's from. Okay. Amber. She's 26, a former ex-tank mechanic.
Badass.
From Georgia, I guess. I don't know. Jessica, 34 years old, regional manager. And I believe she was from Illinois. Mark, 24 years old, fitness instructor. Both his parents are born in Mexico.
He's also from
He's
Illinois.
also from Illinois.
We know this.
Lauren is 32 and she's a content creator. Cameron is 28 years old and he works as a scientist in artificial intelligence, which he talked about. And then these other ones I don't think we've met yet. Have we met Giannina or Damien or Kelley?
We saw like glimpses of some of them.
Okay. But they weren't really featured. We also have Carlton, 34 years old, who works in social media marketing, and Diamond, 28 years old, basketball dancer.
Mm-hmm. And then Lily May. I know we have Lily May too.
She's not on this list. She didn't make the cut.
Oh, sad. Okay, well, maybe there's
Which
more
one is she?
people. Lily May, I'll mention her because you'll know who I'm talking about when I say Lily May. She was cracking me up.
So we start off the episode.
So like right from the get-go, I am so thrown off by the energy of this episode, like this show in general, right? I'm so used to watching Bachelor, Bachelorette that I was like, what is happening? It feels almost kind of like the way it's filmed almost feels like a combo of Love Island and also The Bachelor.
It's like, and the actual show itself is like 90 Day Fiance meets Love at First Sight.
Yes.
Meets, or Marriage at First Sight meets like Bachelor Pad.
Yes.
Or
yes.
Love Island or whatever.
So we have the men in their living quarters and the women in their living quarters. Of course, the women have like plush pillows and rugs everywhere, and the men have like pool tables and kegs, which made me laugh.
I know. And the funny thing is the decorating was like that too. Did you notice their couches in the pods?
Yes, it was like
so gray and navy for the men and like furry pink for the women. Those silly ladies love their furry pink
You know
pillows.
how women only like to sit upon very lilac
We give the men
sofas.
whiskey. The ladies have
Drink
rosé.
Like, oh God, here we go. Here we go. Well, right away, I was noting some of the fashion choices. I was like, ooh, this is going to be fun. You're going to be able to really figure out people by their fashions.
Yes. And also, so in the beginning, too, the montage is a lot talking about how it's not just physical attraction and how these men really want to get married and all this kind of thing.
And I will say the whole concept, when I'm like thinking about it, is really intense. I remember I was reading an article about like how it kind of all got started. And first of all, I believe one of the casting rules, and again, I could be off on this, but I'm pretty sure one of the casting rules was that they all had to be living actually in the same city. So I think everyone's, I believe, from Atlanta, or everyone's like from the same city because they were talking about it actually working.
Oh.
Yes. So it's not like, oh, you
I guess that's sort of like Married at First Sight, I think.
Do they do that in the?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they do in each season. I think they do one city at a time.
That totally makes sense.
I think.
So it's like, okay, you don't have someone from Illinois and with someone in California trying to figure out how to like get married and quickly move to one. Yeah. What city are they going to choose? That's enough of an obstacle. They're getting married after 30 days, so that's enough of a enough of a thing.
Stressor.
And then also.
And also, you want to have. I understand why too. You want both families involved.
Yes.
You want to be able to see all that drama unfold. Course. You want them to be readily available.
Also, I read when they were sitting in the pods and talking, you are talking about being in these pods and having conversations that are lasting for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's how it was.
So it makes sense that you're really expedited. Like you are spending so much time with someone.
It's got to be exhausting.
So tiring. There was one point where Jessica, I think, said to Barnett, and she was like, I'm just so tired. This is like my 4th date. And that would mean literally like all
whole day
just talking to a wall or like a glowy blue thing.
Yeah, a frozen wall.
Yes, I think Cameron said. But
we're also getting these clips of these guys talking too, which I just really want to talk about because Wesley's talking about being short and how women won't date him because of that. Carlton immediately, he's got his suit on and he's talking about how he always wanted to be like Hugh Hefner and have the pick of the litter. And I'm just like, okay, I've got a bad taste in my mouth already.
I right away was kind of like, vibing on this energy, that's for sure.
Anyway, just wanted to highlight those.
So it starts off, Vanessa and Nick Lachey show up.
I was like,
what a blessing for their careers. Like,
how did you guys get the hosting gig for this show?
Hey, I know I've never done anything famous, but would you mind setting me up with this situation? Because
this is going to sound really, really haughty, but before the show, like, I would almost say that we're more relevant than Nick and Vanessa Lachey, and that's saying a lot.
Honestly, like my toes tingle even thinking about being more relevant than them, but I think definitely you are.
Well, maybe. Well,
are they on? You know what? I don't want to. I probably am digging a hole because they're probably on a lot of like entertainment TV, and I just don't watch.
Oh, just like shitty like entertainment.
Maybe
TV.
They're hosts of things that
I've
I'm not watching.
I've never seen Vanessa Lachey on anything, and maybe I just live under a rock.
I think she used to do like, it was either like MTV. She did a lot of like entertainment television.
We're going to get DMs of people being like, no, Nick and Vanessa are definitely more relevant than both of you. And we'd be like, okay, hey, I stand corrected.
I know. And I'm sure they do other things. That's why they have this job. Okay.
I was confused about their hosting this show.
I was assuming that literally, I'm imagining a lot of young people are watching this show and they come out and they're like, host. For real though. And then I saw Nick Lachey and all of a sudden I just the memories came flooding back. Jessica Simpson, the divorce, the drama, and then him posting the music video with like the Vanessa lookalike as his new lover. Remember the song? For my life flash me by. You don't remember that song?
I don't really remember Nick Lachey doing anything, and maybe I'm just showing my youth.
My mistakes, but I want you and I feel.
Oh, well, I know that song.
Crawling underneath my skin, and I'm burning. Yeah.
Well, it killed me because she introduces herself, and then he goes, "I'm obviously Nick Lachey." Did you catch that?
She says, "I'm Vanessa Lachey," and then he says, "I'm obviously Nick Lachey."
I go, not obvious, bro, to have your audience.
Like, also rude to your wifey, sir. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, maybe, are you maybe a little more famous than Vanessa? Maybe, but to be like, well, Vanessa, you may not know her, but obviously.
She may need an introduction. I, on the other hand.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, wow, Nick.
I was dying too. Vanessa's like, you know what it's like being judged by a dating photo a photo on a dating app, which she knows nothing about. And all the women are like, yes, preach, Vanessa.
Tell us, Vanessa. Well, it was interesting to me because they called it the Love is Blind experiment, which then I started to get like.
Okay, so that's what they call Married at First Sight too. They're like, this is an experiment. They keep saying that.
That did give me little tingles on my body because it feels very like AIE weird. And so I'm like, okay, this is the experiment, and you're here. And then they drop the T. You're here to find someone to marry without ever seeing them. And I'm like, oh, Mama didn't know that this was a marriage show. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a dating show. So I'm like, okay, now this is getting really intense. And
however, I guess you do choose to get, they say pick someone to marry without meeting them. But in reality, you got 10 days to chat, then you propose, then you see them, then you leave engaged, move in together, and then you get married. Yes, so you could back out.
But we kept seeing it was like 35 days until wedding. So this is all happening with like in relatively a month's time.
And they still probably are spending eons more time than The Bachelor.
Oh, 100%.
Eons.
There's so much one-on-one time.
And they're going to move in together before they get married, even if it's just for a couple weeks. So.
Wow. And so then they're saying psychologists believe emotional connection is the key to a long-time success, not physical attraction. And that's when everyone finds out that looks will not be playing a factor. I was dying when you saw Vanessa and Nick tell the girls that, and the girls are kind of like nodding, like, okay, processing. And then they tell the guys the same thing, and the guys are just like dead silent, just like, oh shit. I know in my intro I said that, you know, I wanted to do this because I didn't want looks to be a factor, but now that you're saying that I
looks, not her looks.
I didn't want them to see me. I was hoping that I would be behind some sort of curtain and that I would have my pick of the litter in quotes and I'd be able to see everything about them.
Yes.
Talk to them and also see them. What am I supposed to do with this?
Well, and then the funny thing is they take them into these private pods, which are basically just really expensive versions of talking on the phone.
It's very true.
That's literally all it is.
You're like, what about we just do like a phone booth situation?
It's literally the same thing. It's just talking on the phone with someone for a week.
The way, though, that they made it look,
I know,
gave me like kind of the heebie-jeebies.
Especially when they do the pan over the top.
And it looks like, you know what it looks like?
What?
It looks like they're not even real. And we're watching in like a little maze. Do you know what I'm saying?
Creepy.
Yeah. Kind of started.
I know. I was actually wondering if that was like some sort of, because then I'm looking at the hallway of doors. I was really confused by how it was actually configured.
The hallway of doors looked like kind of like it was a hotel.
Yeah, like a kind of a shitty production setup.
Mm-hmm. And then the pods kind of looked like this weird mix of like the OA and Star Wars. And it was very strange. It made me feel very weird. And it was like, this is like, here we are. It's 2020, fam, and we are watching people meet their future husband and wives in dimly lit jail cell pods. Like, this is where we're at now.
Also, they keep talking about, like, is love truly blind? Acting like all these people aren't at least moderately attractive.
Oh, yeah, everyone's good looking.
Like, they don't have any, like, 4'8" dudes. Not saying that that's not... But, you know, there's nothing like... No. I'm not seeing anything with anyone where someone's going to be like, wow, what did I get myself into?
We did see a clip of someone being like, that is not what I thought he was going to look like.
But you know how when you listen to podcasts, too, I kept thinking about that. Like, how people think you have long blonde hair. When you listen to podcasts and you have this image in your... And my images of people are almost always more attractive than they really are when I'm listening.
Here's my thing. And this is what was really tripping me up watching this entire thing. I'm telling you this right now. If I were to be in this situation, I'm very auditory. So I could find, like, I could see myself falling in love for sure in a situation like this.
Too.
Here's my problem.
What?
At one point, Cameron said, like, you know, I haven't been picturing anything that would be completely impossible for me.
Same.
I would have developed a face.
Yes.
And
color hair.
That face and that...
I bet they aren't allowed to ask about that either, by the way.
Probably
like, how
not.
tall are you? What color are your eyes? What color is your hair?
Well, even though that one weird douchey dude...
Are you African-American?
Just like, are you fucking kidding me?
I can tell by your voice.
And I love
Jesus
Lauren. Lauren
Christ.
was just like, I'm not. I'm obsessed with her. But here's my thing is I would literally be in the situation. I would fall in love. I would picture a person. And let's just say the person who walked through the doors was, in my opinion, even technically better looking than who I pictured. It would be really hard for me to adjust because even if in my mind the person wasn't as attractive,
they're just not like how you pictured it.
It's not the person I fell in love with in my brain.
Oh yeah, that's real.
That would really freak me out.
That's real. I understand what you mean.
It's not. Yeah, it's not even like a bet. Like, is this person good looking enough? It's like, no, you could be hotter than what I pictured, but I fell in love with someone in my head.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Freaks me out.
That's what I'm saying. When I see people after listening to their podcast and I don't know what they look like, it really throws things off.
I have to immediately look it up. People message me all the time about how I don't look that way, and I'm like, I always want to say, like, I'm so sorry because I know that that's a little rattling.
It's kind of it's like you said, it's a let down even if they're hotter than how you picture them.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they could
get it.
Yeah, that's a letdown.
Well, so first of all, okay, now I remember who Lily Ray was because I thought she was Octavia Spencer.
Lily May. She
Not
definitely
Lily
kind
Ray.
of looks like Octavia Spencer for sure.
Like I immediately thought that was Octavia Spencer.
Wait,
what are you doing on the show? Your career's going really well right now, actually.
Just here to find somebody. Just here to find somebody.
But speaking of auditory attraction, there were some of these people, Jessica, where I was like, this voice would be difficult for me to get over.
See, I wrote down immediately. I said, I bet guys are going to be fighting over Jessica, not because her voice is, I don't like this. Sorry, Jessica.
I know.
I don't like the sound of your voice, really. It's not like necessarily music to my ears. It's not my choice, but she sounds like a hot girl.
Wow. I get 100% what you're saying.
Because she kind of like, oh my God, like talks like that. And it sounds
like, what?
Like, oh my God, Barnett, stop. It sounds like a hot girl. And so I'm like, oh, guys are going to be.
You're right.
And when she would talk to the men, her voice would go higher. And, you know, typically men scientifically are like, ooh, higher voice. Yeah.
She, by the way, is fit. She is.
I know.
Like, she works out.
Clearly.
I know.
Clearly.
Mark. They're the first 2 we see sitting down.
And this is then when we find out that the pods have candy and alcohol in the pods. So, you know, I would be comfy, cozy, quarantined in there. I choose yes. Also, the pod when they're inside kind of looks like a well-lit champagne room at a strip club.
Yes.
Like kind of like lighting. It's very sexual.
Yes.
And there were definitely a lot of sexual moments in this, by the way.
I'm telling you, like phone sex. Like
I was getting turned on.
So,
okay, so Mark and Jessica.
Also, it's funny because I realized like the girls are literally just dressing up for the TV show.
Well, did you notice that the guys like went in first suits. Round suits because they didn't know they weren't actually going to be seeing them,
and then we see them digress
and
to
then it's like basketball shorts, sweats, but the girls keep dressing up.
Yes,
us poor women.
I know. For the TV.
For the TV. I mean, I would for sure do it.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
So Mark seems really nice.
Yes, I like Mark a lot.
He's a personal trainer, granted. So I'm like, did he get rejected from The Bachelor?
He probably auditioned.
But
his grandparents are immigrants from Mexico.
They're 10 years apart. Him and Jessica are.
They are 10 years apart. We also meet Jessica. Okay, right away. She walks into the room. She pushes her hands up against the glass and is like, "Can you see this? Excuse me, can you see this?" And I'm getting a. She says she has rigid set of standards, and I'm like, I'm getting a Major Jan from The Office energy, like a little uptight. And I have a feeling that Jessica is going to be a little wild in this. There's going to be some issues. I'm sensing a lot of problems with Jessica.
I didn't necessarily foresee that. And now that you're saying it, I can see it.
I see Jessica as the type who she's got the smile always on. And I feel like she's going to start to crack.
This is interesting.
That was because it was
I didn't even think about that.
It was just the energy she went in right away. Like, they need to be athletic. Because I'm athletic. And I think she's probably picturing these guys looking a certain way and maybe they're not going to look. I think she's going to be one of the ones who's like, oh, you don't look how I thought you were going to look.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I could be totally
No. I'm taking your opinion and considering it. Their conversation did immediately start to stress me out because it was like, we're from the same place and we're both from Illinois. Oh we both love the Bears and my dog is named after one of the Bears players and I make Italian beef. You love Italian beef? And I was just like, it was like a first date bar conversation that I didn't really want to overhear.
100%.
Because I was just getting anxiety.
And I was also like, you guys realize that like none of what you're saying matters really. Like, yes, it is. There is a value to like the same things that come from the same place.
And they're both just like instantly like, I'm so glad you're here.
And I was like, what? Okay, really? All right. But again, she's 34. He's 24.
I didn't really think he would be into her.
Me
necessarily.
Either.
No shade to her. I just didn't really think that. And then he seems really into it.
Does Mark give you the type of vibe though that maybe he, maybe that was the first person that he actually did officially talk to, and he seems like a romantic, so maybe that's who he fell for?
He does. He seems like a really sweet guy.
So sweet.
And kind of, yes, exactly, sort of naive in that sense.
And he is, he's 24. We don't know. I don't think we found out about like a lot of relationships. We know he's had his heart broken, he said, really badly once, but he seems like a romantic. So I could see him falling for the first person he had a connection with.
And also the thing of like, we both love Italian beef and the Cubs, kind of like you were saying.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so next.
What's Italian beef?
I don't know.
Is this going to be like when we said we hadn't had crab rangoons all over again?
Crab rangoon all over again. Crab rangoon.
Which are they wontons? Crab rangoons?
So crab rangoon is when you and I eat like crab and cream cheese wontons, which by the way,
which I don't even like that much.
Oh, see, I really like them. But we have like, yes, we eat them over in California. We just don't call them
and we
crab
also
rangoon.
like only kind of eat them at bars. Not like at bars, like at, do you know what I'm talking about? Like it's sort of like
always
pub
like
food.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always just get them in like takeout Chinese.
Oh.
You'll get like, okay, cream cheese and crab wontons. Like you just get that for takeout. But
anyway, I have no idea what Italian beef is.
either is it just beef? Is it a sausage?
Pastrami?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds fine.
Sounds good.
Great.
I like Italian food. I like beef.
Next, we meet Lauren
and Cam.
Lauren and Cameron. First, we meet Lauren. She's 32, and her mom calls her
32.
once a week.
Okay, I didn't get her age. I was curious about that.
She's 32, and her mom calls her once a week to say her eggs are shriveling. Right away, right off the bat, super into Lauren's energy. She's
like
funny.
her.
She's stunning.
Yeah,
stunning. And she then goes into a pod with Cameron. He's from Maine. He works in AI. He's 28.
You just right away tell he's a good guy.
Okay, so Cameron's one of those guys who, when I first see him, I'm like, he's not like necessarily my type. But the more, especially if I'm hearing he has a beautiful voice.
He does.
I'm like, I would for sure fall in love with Cameron.
Yeah.
And the fact too that he's a scientist, he's right away talking about how Love is Blind is an experiment to him. It's removing all the confounding factors of dating in the real world and da-da-da. And he seems like truly invested in this from the get-go. Mm-hmm. From the get-go.
He's also from Maine, and Maine just seems like such a nice place.
It does sound lovely. I've never been.
Me neither. I hear it's lovely. So although these first conversations, I think this is why I turned off the show in the first 30 minutes the first time I watched it. Because they're talking and it's like, oh, she's like, I can cook. And then he's like, I'm like an introvert extrovert. Sometimes I want to go out. Sometimes I just want to stay home and drink wine, and they're both like, same. And I'm like, oh God, I can't stand these like
the surface level convos.
Where it's like almost everyone can relate to these things.
But they definitely like,
they click.
And in my opinion, seeing Mark and Jessica versus then Lauren and Cameron, I right away was like, Lauren and Cameron definitely seem like this is going to work more than I thought that Mark and Jessica were going to work. Also,
we had some funny cuts to other couples that we didn't see much of. Like someone asked this one guy, what are you looking for, a woman? And he was like, in shape and beautiful. Lily
Mae was asking that. That's where she was killing me. When he says, I'm looking for in shape and beautiful. And she goes, aw, that doesn't sound shallow at all.
Oh my God. And is that the same guy, or was that a different guy who said, oh no, never mind. That he was talking to Lauren, I think, when he said, I'm going to guess you're African-American from your voice.
His name was John. He's 38. He was the owner of a mitigation company, which is like water damage. And he was literally picking his nose, which by the way, you can do that when you're in a pod because the person can't see you. But guess what?
Except we can. For the millions of Netflix viewers.
There's a camera, John. And then that's when John said, if I had to guess, you're African-American. And Lauren's like, what the fuck? Why do you say
He's
that?
Like, from your voice.
And it was like, what? And she actually goes, no, I'm white.
She goes, oh, you're wrong. I'm white. Yeah.
And he literally leans forward excited and was like, are you? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, then there's John.
Jesus.
It's going to be a hard pass.
It then also cuts to Amber, who, I'm sorry, I immediately dislike. And she goes,
not my vibe.
One of the first things she says is, a lot of people don't take me seriously because I'm not ugly.
Amber,
and I'm like, well, I consider myself pretty hot, and no one's ever just automatically assumed I'm dumb.
Now, I will say that people probably, like, she's an ex-tank mechanic.
True.
So that's probably a weird thing.
Sure.
And she was in the army, so people are probably like, oh, you're a pretty girl, we're going to write you off. So maybe there's that. But the energy was definitely like, oh my, you definitely
we see
know
it
that you're
playing out in the conversations as we continue on. Immediately she snorts, and I'm like, I now really don't like you.
Well, the fact that she snorted because he kind of made a noise and she didn't know, or he didn't know that she was there. And that's why she's dying laughing. I was like, all right, so the standards for comedy are fairly low, clearly, because all these women think Barnett is hysterical, which he's not.
As you guys will see from my memes, I wrote down so many quotes of his that I hated.
Dude, Barnett. Oh my God. Give me another glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he right away was just like, nice snort. And as soon as I see, by the way, Amber and Barnett sitting together, I right away wrote down by their vibe and their clothes, I could see these two dating on the outside for sure.
Yes.
Like I could definitely picture them as a couple.
And I would never be friends with either one of them.
Not so much my speed, you know? So Barnett's 27.
Not to come off as judgmental, but I would never spend time with them. Given the choice.
Well, when Amber and Barnett are talking, we find out.
Well, and he's cute too. When he first comes on screen, I'm like, oh, he's cute.
No, my brain, and that's why I like this show. That's when I start going like, okay, I like it because I see Barnett and I right away I'm like, Barnett is the hottest to me. And then as soon as you see him not even like interacting face to face with a person, you're like, oh, I don't like this guy.
Sleazebag.
She was like, right, okay, we find out she's a cheerleader and she was in the army, went into the army when she was 17. She says she's off the wall crazy.
She also says, which she seems to drop throughout other conversations, I'm so used to just running with the boys. And that's kind of her whole identity is like, I'm not like one of the girls. I'm one of the boys.
Yeah, which always is a little bit of a red flag for me. And I understand sometimes when people are saying that what they're trying to say.
Yes, emulate, etc.
But I'll just say this, like nothing wrong with hanging out with the dudes and being a girl who likes to hang out with the dudes, but also girls rule and girls are awesome and girlfriends are dope to have. So
also, if you like want to be strong and empowered, you don't have to be like a man to be strong. You can just be who you are.
But I think a lot of times that comment is used. Now, again, this girl's in the army, so she definitely is always
running with the boys.
Probably with a lot of men.
So, well, and then he, I know like they're a match made in heaven because he's just like, I always go for pretty girls. I'm like,
okay, Barnett. And then he says that he wants to see if these women can hang with his jokes. Okay. Like we're about to find out that he's a comedian.
Oh, and then turns out I wrote down he's like the most unfunny person ever. He goes, are you clumsy? And she says something. He goes, what about in bed? And then she answers, well, I ain't timid. That's for sure. And I'm like, you both deserve each other.
They're a match made in heaven. Also, I have discovered, when I was taking notes, that Barnett's comedy, in quotes, is anytime anyone says anything, he then like disagrees with it and says, oh no. Like, so I'll give you an example. If Barnett's at a bar and a girl comes up to him and kind of like is like, so what type of girls do you like? Barnett would be like, I don't know, I'm gay. And then she'd be like, oh, really? And he'd be like, nah, I like chicks, hot chicks. That's his comedy. So every time someone says something, he deflects it that way, and that's his comedy. Also making some sort of sexual innuendo. He like the fact, how can you put together or relate I'm clumsy, and then he says clumsy in bed? It's just like, what?
Yeah, and then she says, well, I ain't timid. I'm like, that's not even what you were asked. I don't even know what you were asked means.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what you were even asked. Clumsy in bed.
No, he's just trying to bring it back to sex.
Yeah, it's, oh, no. And again, it's the same type of thing, because then as soon as Amber says, I'm not timid, and Barnett says, oh, I've never had sex. Again, that's his comedy. Because you say something and he goes, well, yeah, no, and I'm Amber's a virgin. Like, and she goes, that's unfortunate. Next. Just like, oh God, you guys are perfect together. I'm actually like super disappointed that Barnett met Jessica.
Yes, same. And he asked Jessica, I'm a big weirdo. What's the weirdest thing about you?
Oh, stop.
I couldn't get a bigger red flag if someone was waving it a 50-foot square foot red flag above the roof. If someone says, I'm a big weirdo, what's the weirdest thing about you?
Well, but then also,
Which, by the way, with a guy like that, I would fuck with him so hard. And I'd be like, honestly, I eat my toenails and I really like to eat other people's toenails.
Can I eat yours?
And he'd be
later,
like, wait,
babe?
for real? For real? And I'd be like, yeah, it's so weird, right? Dude, I hope that doesn't
really
freak
weird.
you out.
Well, when Jessica and Barnett are having their moment and he asks that, that's a red flag. But what also is a red flag to me is when someone says, you know what, actually, this is crazy. I am weird because people think I'd be really girly, which I do have that side of me for sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm gorgeous, but I actually really dig sports and I couldn't date a man who isn't into sports. And I'm like, why do people have this definition of weird? Why is this a definition of weird?
There's literally nothing
that
weird
you
about that.
are girly and you like sports?
It's painful. It's really painful.
And so then when they all of a sudden had that moment, I was like, well, maybe I could see this working. And
yeah, again, another one of his jokes
I
where
was like,
she
wow,
says,
Jessica and Victoria P would be really good friends.
Yeah.
They have the same definition of weird.
She says, what do you think of dogs in the bed? Or someone says that. And he goes, well, I am one. That's so funny.
Oh my! And she lost it. She lost it. Like,
You don't have to laugh.
like
You don't
laugh.
think it's funny. You don't have to.
She screamed. And that's
She
when
was dead.
she was dead. And that's when I made a note that there's going to be, and we see it later. I right away said, wow, there's going to be a showdown between Jessica and Amber for Barnett.
Bro, he asked Diamond after she said her name given to her by her mother. He said, what strip club do you work at?
And Diamond's response was everything. She was just like, bye. Like, get out of here. I was like, yes, that's the correct response.
Like, fuck off.
That's the correct response.
Fuck you.
Yeah, we see that a lot of other interactions.
Wait, Carlton pretending to be asleep and then walking out while Amber's talking about what a tomboy she was sent me.
I could not even believe.
I mean, I cannot stand Carlton, but when she's talking about how basically saying the same thing she was saying to Barnett about how like she's such a tomboy and she hangs with the boys, and Carlton's
Well, she
just
actually
like,
wasn't even like, and she wasn't saying like I'm a tomboy. Like she was actually having like a legitimate conversation and talking about like daddy issues and like kind of diving deep. And yeah, and that's when he started to walk around the room fake sleeping and then walks out, and also not only walks out, sees the other guys and does like the symbol.
and she's just talking.
And then you hear her
That's
go,
fucked up.
and you hear her go, hello?
That's fucked.
That's so dark. That's so messed up. I was like, dude.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention enough to what she was saying, and I thought she was talking about it being a tomboy, and I was like,
Well,
oh
no,
shit.
I think she was.
Regardless,
kind of,
it's super
but
disrespectful.
She wasn't being like, oh my God, well, you know me. Like she was actually having like a legitimate, like open, she was being open and vulnerable about certain things about herself. And
Hey,
he
well, you know
walked
what?
out.
You know what? We find out that Carlton's not in it for the 50-50 two-way street emotional labor. He wants a woman that's going to bear that for him.
A nurturer.
That's what women are good. That's why he wants to be with a woman, because they're good for that, you know?
Holy shit. Okay.
God forbid that he have to listen to some other woman talk about what's going on with her.
I was just like,
Jesus.
dude.
Ew.
No. It was a no. It was a no. Yes.
Then, I don't know, I hope I'm not skipping anything, but shut up. This guy in the corner who's a virgin who looks like the knockoff Will Arnett.
Oh, dude. Okay. So the men and women go back to their separate dorms. I'm going to call them the dorms.
Yeah.
Okay. Wesley, who we don't really get to know, says, is anyone a virgin here? Taylor raises his hand. And who you are talking about, he is shuffling a deck of cards, which makes me think magician.
Magician.
He's an amateur magician.
Virgin magician.
100% he's got a slick back hair suit, open button, his whole energy.
He's like,
Amateur
how am I
magician.
supposed to pick up a woman if I can't show my card tricks?
Card tricks. Oh, no, that's what he's been.
He's like, pick a card. She's like, I can't see what you're doing.
When Nick and Vanessa.
He's like, fuck, just roll with it, okay?
When Nick and Vanessa announced they won't be able to see each other, all the men are panicking because they're like, we need to see if these women are hot or not. And Taylor's just like, oh my God, they're not.
What about all these card tricks
them.
I've been practicing for months, knowing I was being casted for the show?
Oh my God. I got so good at my sleight of hand.
Does he not look like a knockoff Will Arnett?
He totally does. He totally does. Well, Taylor says that every girl grows up waiting for their Prince Charming, and I want to make sure this is it. And he also kind of has that similar look to the guy. Have you seen the guy who got plastic surgery to look like a Ken doll? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He looks like a combination of him and Will Arnett.
That's funny.
But back at the women's dorms, all the women are right away having their conversation and downloading. And Amber says that she's the most into Barnett because he's sarcastic and perverted. And Jessica is clearly bothered, as it seems like the girl is behind her too, which we find out later that girl is LC, which Barnett is talking to all three. Of course, Barnett already has all the women lined up, which first of all, don't get because he seems like a total asshole through the frozen wall. Second, I do kind of get because he does have a hot voice.
Yes, and he's got the confidence of and being an asshole.
Yes, and Jessica even said he seems like a player, and I kind of like it. Isn't that weird how you can like sense that through a wall? And
Isn't that weird how you can sense that when someone's being a total dick in the conversation?
Oh man, I'm
Isn't that so weird when a guy's saying he's a dog in bed and then you think that he might be a player?
It's crazy how I get the guy.
It's great.
I'm super insightful.
It's crazy you get that vibe without seeing someone. Wow, I'm dead.
Oh my God, okay. Oh God, I'm freaking out. Okay. So the girls are then having conversations, you know, the girls are talking about, Lauren asked the highest number of men you've had sex with. Lily Mae was like 4. All the girls are freaking out. Or no, sorry, not the number of men you've had sex with, the highest number you've had sex in a day. And all the girls are freaking out at her answer. And Lily Mae's like, what? Is that a lot? I was dying. I think she's hilarious.
I like her too. Also, at some point we cut to Carlson just starting out his conversation saying, I expect to be pleased as a man. And I am also like,
no, yeah.
Red flag.
I right away paused and I started and wrote that down. But then he finished up and he said, then I expect to please her.
Sure.
But the energy is just weird.
It's
just
anyone
weird.
who uses anyone who used the term pleased or expect to be talking about like sex.
Pleasure.
I expect to be pleased. Even if you're just saying that like, and I expect to please her. It's just like, how about leave your expectations at the door and let's just have fun and see what happens. Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, it looks like they're having fun because, you know, the girls aren't really in competition. I mean, they sort of are, but they're pouring mimosas.
Talking
about dicks.
You know, they're talking about the size. They're talking about the, you know, does the size matter? The motion of the ocean. Ebony was killing me. She was like, size matters. There's no motion in any ocean if there isn't a thing to make the ocean go. And everyone's like, what does that mean? It's just like, if it's like really small.
Like this big.
They were having fun. They were really cute. Okay, before we get into the next day, should we take a pause for a hot second?
We shall.
Like, I'm seeing some good stuff. I have to say, Carlton, as much as he's not like, you know, my vibe, he does have quite statement style. I have to appreciate that. And as an ex-wardrobe stylist, I will say wholeheartedly that a good accessory can totally make or break an outfit. Unfortunately, good accessories sometimes cost a pretty penny. That's why we're excited to introduce our Chatty Broads to Vinchiaro watches.
They're cute.
They're so cute. Vinchiaro creates exceptionally crafted watches, and they do it without breaking the bank. Not only are they affordable, but the quality is incredible. I mean, high-end quality. I was shocked with mine when it arrived.
The 20,000 5-star reviews from verified customers probably speak for themselves, but I can also confirm Vinchiaro watches are top-notch. No one takes quality as seriously as Vinchiaro. They think you deserve the best, and to prove it, they spend 5 times more on material and manufacturing than other DTC watch brands. I mean, they're just so cute. You've got all these quality leather, quality faces with lots of very cute options, stylish, trendy.
So good. It's literally quality that you can feel. I got Evan one, and it's like this matte black watch with a big face, and it's so sexy. I'm telling you, I can't get over not only how sleek these watches are, but the quality is unreal. I have held and worn watches that cost a lot more that are not nearly the same quality as Vinchiaro watches.
I've held Rolexes, darling.
The highest end, but seriously, it's so true. Of course, we all know the potential frustrations of online shopping. Will it fit? What if I don't like it? With Vinchiaro, you don't have to worry about any of that because they offer free shipping and then 30-day returns and guarantees for your watch for 2 years.
That's a good amount of time.
That's a good amount of time.
No matter who you are, what your style is, there's a watch for you at Vinchiaro. So don't overpay for accessories that look cheap and are going to disappoint you, because this is a piece that you'll actually use. This is a piece that will last, people. Exclusively for Chatty Broads listeners too, Vinchiaro's offering an extra 15% off their already affordable watches. Just go to VinchiaroWatches.com and use promo code Chatty. Don't you dare pay full price at checkout.
Don't you dare.
Use our code Chatty for 15% off at VINCERO watches.com, VinchiaroWatches.com.
All right. So like you said, the next day, the women are making mimosas and the guys, but of course, are doing handstand push-ups with Barnett at the epicenter.
I know.
They're lifting him. Like, of course, he's the one who's, I would be drinking mimosas. I'd be like, this is my vacation, honey. He can't see me.
Seriously. He can't see what a drunken mess I am. I'm falling off the couch right now. I can barely stay awake.
My mascara is dripping everywhere. I am a hot mess. I am so drunk. I am in sweats. I'm nude, whatever.
I was really surprised that even being filmed, I just know from being on The Bachelor, day 3, my level of style would be very depleted.
I'm going cute sweats.
You're
the
like,
whole time.
I have to do 14 hours of this a day?
I'm going cute, comfy outfit. Definitely not like a bodycon dress like some of these queens were able to continue to do. Like with their heels on, my God.
Maybe that's the only thing they packed.
That's definitely a possibility, thinking that they were going to be with these people dating in person the whole time.
Yeah.
Definitely a possibility. Okay, so now we have Carlton sitting down with Diamond. He is a social media manager or like content.
Yeah. He, by the way, really strikes me as someone who, which later in the episode, he said something that was like, that kind of confirms my theory. But at this point, he struck me as someone who was kind of like bullied a lot and maybe really, or maybe not bullied a lot, but was just like really shy and never really kind of like fit in grade school. And then he like went to college in another state and got laid a lot and got a boost of confidence. But he's like got that underlying, like, I'm an insecure guy trying to overcompensate. And then as he starts talking later on, we're like, oh.
It makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense. It falls together for sure. Also, he sits down.
But I felt like I could see right through him right away. I'm like, you're not that confident.
No, not at all. Not at all. I completely
Which is kind of what bothers me, the whole thing of like, I have my pick of my litter. Women like chocolate. Like, saying all this stuff, I'm just like, stop. You're overcompensating.
It's too much.
Stop.
Well, he sits down with Diamond, who, like you said, is a professional dancer for the NBA, I believe. And she says that she gets hit up a lot because of the way that she looks, and she wants people to just to get to know her for her personality. Carlton's first
AKA,
question,
I'm fucking hot.
Yeah, but she said it in a way better way than Amber was just like,
I'm not ugly.
I'm not ugly.
No, she did say it in a way better way.
Carlton's first question is, so what are some things that stood out to you about me?
Is he exactly why he walked out of the conversation with Amber? He's like, well, we're not talking about me, so this chick's boring.
Yeah, and I was just like, hey, what about, let's reverse that and be like, hey, Diamond, here are the things that stood out about you to me.
Hey, Diamond.
She pulls out her notes, and Carlton is like, he's got energy. He's standing up. He's pacing. He's talking about travel, and then all of a sudden, he's kind of like asking if he's gonna let her go, or if she would let him go to Vegas for a bachelor party, and kind of already asking those questions. Which I get. Now we're day 2. Let's start to ask these questions. Like let's get serious. And he's thinking that she's different from a lot of women because she's saying that
She said, I want my king to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God.
Her energy though definitely seems like she is a trusting person. She makes some comment about like, I'm not your ex. You know, she's going to trust her partner. They want to go on another date. I feel like they're two who I could see in the cube, in the pods. They're hitting it off really well, but the second that they're in person, there's going to be a lot of problems.
There's going to be a lot of issues.
Because it's like, okay, maybe the chemistry is good when you're not like with the other person, but I don't foresee this going very well. Or at least it's going to be a rough ride, I think.
Well, the preview showed a lot at the end.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It looked like she was throwing something in his face.
Everything.
But I don't know if that was her or not. It was a quick...
Yeah.
It's
hard too because I've also like seen conversations happening on the internet before watching the show. And so I sort of have an idea sometimes of like what goes on because I've seen people talking about not like specific names, but sort of like topics. Okay. Like talking about like Black bisexual men and like how they're perceived by women. And I've seen like a lot of that conversation.
I had
on the
actually
internet.
heard the Black bisexual male piece, but I didn't like. But then when I started to watch, I kind of forgot about it. And then when he said that, I was surprised. Like I kind of completely forgot about it. So then we get back to Mark and Jessica. They seem like they have a connection. She says that his conversation is who she looks forward to the most. Then we got a quick turnaround because we see then Barnett go through his, you know.
He says Amber's scary, but he's into her. And then he says he thinks Jessica's wifey material.
But he thinks there's maybe something wrong because she is single at 34, aka he's scared she's not a dime piece. That's what I think Barnett's tripping out about.
Oh.
He's like, you seem great, but you're single at 34. Oh. Barnett's brain goes, is she ugly? Is that why?
Okay, you're piecing things together for me.
Though she has hot girl voice, Barnett for sure.
You're piecing things together.
That's his concern. And then he starts asking her if they don't have like, do we have to start a family the second we leave? He wants to make sure she isn't there to start a family.
Right. And then she isn't trying to use him for kids.
Yeah. I just want your sperm, Barnett, okay? You seem funny.
Which granted, then she's in a conversation later where she's just like, all I want is, like, I just really want kids.
I know. She wants to have a family. Well, she's like, I'm a fucking catch. I don't need your sperm, which I liked that response. And then we're introduced to LC.
Who does have a nice voice.
Who has a very nice voice.
Jess, we would have a leg up. We have a podcast, so that means some people like our voice.
Hello. I also want to say that if I was in this situation, and this is like maybe gross, and I don't want to say gross.
What?
It's maybe telling of me, but as I'm watching this, I literally was like, day 2, I'm like sexting.
Sure.
There was like such this weird sexual energy to me about this. And I don't know if it's because I'm really auditory, but watching this shit, I was like, if I'm alone in a room and I can't see someone and I hear in his voice him make a comment kind of like, well, you sound hot, I'd be like, all right, here we go.
Jess, that's what I'm talking about. I used to stay up with my boyfriends like back in high school and we'd talk on the phone for like 3 hours at night laying in bed, you know, and things always end up getting a little spicy.
Like, is there anything hotter than a sexting situation? Like,
I like talking on the phone more than the sexting.
Really? See, I like this. I like the sexting.
Ooh. Sexting's okay, but then also it's not always in real, especially if it's not at night when you're both just on your phone. Because then there's some lag, and then you're like, okay,
yeah, I guess I'm thinking like
steam.
At night, and all of a sudden you get like
if
that
you're going
kind
right
of
back and forth quickly, then that works. But I have had it be like 3 or 4 minute delay.
You're just like,
this is just this. You taking the wind out from under my sails.
Care of himself. Come on.
No, it's like when during the day or he's out in public with family. with his grandma. No, I'm just.
But I like to think about that.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like during the sexting during the day or like at work.
But I like sending
right
like a hot random sext, knowing that he's like at work and probably having a conversation with someone, and I know that it's popping up, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oi."
Oh, I remember sending something to my ex, and he was literally out to dinner with his brothers. And he was like, I'm so hard under the table right now.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah,
See,
I know. I know what you're talking about. It's
I
hot.
would not be appropriate in one of these pods, guys. That's all I'm saying is that like Netflix would have to take the camera out of the pod because your girl would be getting like disrobed hearing like the hot voice and
but
like
you're
not
talking about
knowing.
sexting. What about phone sex, which is basically what's happening here?
No, phone sex is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I do enjoy like a sex. It's very hot. But Elsie does have a hot voice.
This is, by the way, kind of a big deal. And it's the same with The Bachelor. Jess, you're blindsided by the way that they text until you're like engaged to them. Think about that.
That's
and then
a weird
all of a
one.
sudden they're sending weird emojis and you're like, who uses that emoji?
Do you know that
Or they like use way too many exclamation points and you're like, you're not who I thought you were.
Uh-huh.
After knowing them after getting engaged to them.
Honestly, that is such an amazing point because the way someone texts is very disarming.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never and then you're like intimate with them. Oh, wow. Haven't even thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Had to look up an emoji someone sent me the other day. I would not be good at this. I was like, what does this mean?
What emoji was it?
Some guy sent me this thing and I thought we were like work kind of texting. And then it was like that smirk emoji with kind of like with a little bit of an innuendo comment back. And I was like, And then I was like, what does that emoji mean? Is that like I don't know. And then I looked it up and then it was like kind of flirtatious. And then I was like,
This one? Is it this one?
Uh-huh. You do it really well. And I was like, oh, first of all, I didn't know you were an emoji sender. Also, this feels inappropriate for work. Evan! Hey!
Evan, text him back.
This is not right. Okay, so Elsie, cutie pie.
And Barnett says, at some point in their conversation, I don't know what else they said because it's the only thing I wrote down. When he said, I've never been into high-waisted jeans. Why waist a perfectly good ass? And I'm like, first of all, I don't give a fuck what you think about high-waisted jeans. Secondly, what are you talking about? High-waisted jeans,
they
look
show off
so
the ass.
good on a nice, juicy peach.
High-waisted jeans serve the ass on a platter,
well,
okay?
Granted, if you're in the flat ass crew, which I'm verging on there, sometimes it can be like it can look like a 15-inch butt or like a 24-inch butt, you know? So it's like,
fair.
Okay, maybe not like the best to show off the butt for some girls, but like, what do you mean, why waste a good ass? What are you talking about?
Like, how dare you, Barnett? You were...
But also just like, what are you talking about? You're just wrong.
You're wrong. Number one, you're wrong. Number two, guess what? We don't care. I will continue to wear.
You're literally the last person I want to impress, Barnett.
Like, honestly, Barnett, if we were at a bar.
What can I do to disgust
and
you?
you came up to me and you like criticized my clothing choices, I'd be like, great, I'm doing something right.
If he came up.
Barnett. But he's into Elsie. He says that he thinks she has like a happy
imagine
free
if
spirit.
Imagine if someone said that to you. Like, you're talking on the phone, they're like, I've never been into high-waisted jeans. Like, why waste a perfectly good ass?
Here, let's be on the phone.
Okay, we got to give context to the conversation because what was the context, you know?
Of this conversation?
So what are you wearing?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm kind of casual right now. Like, just like a white t-shirt and some like ripped up high-waisted jeans.
I've never been into high-waisted jeans. Why waste a perfectly good ass? Hello? Bitch.
That's how I would respond. That's how that conversation would go.
He's just like, oh.
Ugh. Oh, bad taste. But he says that she's at the top of his list. At least that's what he says in this moment. Then, of course, things change, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure that he ends up being more into Jessica because he senses that Mark is into Jessica and maybe one of the other guys is too. And maybe none of the other guys are into Elsie. So he's like, maybe I'm wrong.
I think he ends up with Amber, though. Hot take.
I have that feeling, too.
It also seemed like that in the previews. They were, like I said, they're showing too much, and I was seeing him with brown hair.
I think that him and Jessica end up together, and I think that they then, when they're all going maybe on a group trip somewhere, that him and
are they
Amber
continuing to interact as a group after
I don't know.
they get
It looked
engaged?
like when they were like jumping off a boat, it looked like they were all like on a vacation.
Oh shit!
Maybe I'm wrong, but if that's the case, I think
that's even more juicy.
I
drama.
sure hope that's. But if that's the case, I think him and Jessica end up together, and then I think he ditches Jessica and he ends up hooking up with Amber.
Hot take.
Well, go back to the lovely. Oh God. Okay, so we see Cameron.
The already married Lauren and Cameron.
He tells her that his connection with her was the strongest. She feels the same way. The contrast between John, 38, who says like, oh no, not John, excuse me, one of the other guys who says like, I want someone who's in shape and beautiful, and then Cameron says that he wants someone who isn't afraid to tell him when things are difficult, understands the type of person he is because he thinks he's a little different. And I believe every part of my being believes everything Cameron says.
Yeah, no, he is a good, honest guy. And
I
you
believe
can just tell.
Everything.
And he's the guy that you want your friend to be with. You're like,
yes.
you're like, yes.
He also says that he was a firefighter and AI, like robotics person. He says he's sensitive. And I mean, Lauren then starts talking about how there's been no phones, no texts, and they're really connecting and it's crazy. And now they're crying together.
I know.
This romantic music is overcoming. They are lovers who have never touched. I am so into this. And it is real shit. Like they're both teary. They're opening up about how much they love their families and all this. And Lauren goes back to the girls and she's like, Cameron and I cried together and everyone is so jealous. They're being supportive.
But
I'm just
everyone
like,
else here sucks compared. What the fuck?
I'm like, I was just in a pod with Barnett and he told me that my ass wouldn't look good in those jeans and you and Cameron cried together.
I mean, these are like the 3 guys we have highlighted right now. I mean, 4 guys. There's Mark. Mark is sweet. Seems sweet.
Very sweet.
Barnett.
Bit.
Bleh.
Blit.
Cameron. Sweetheart. And then Carlton.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the next day we see Mark and Jessica together and that's when we find out
they're
how long
good together too.
They seem good together. So she's worried because she said with a guy who was 41 and she felt like she was fast forwarding her life a bit and she feels like Mark might be doing that with her, which I feel like, she's experienced like a 10-year age gap maybe. But then they start to get into this conversation about how because he says it doesn't matter to him. She starts to say that she's super Christian.
And he's like, I have a cross tattoo. And she's like, oh, my spiritual leader.
Not only that, when she says that she's super Christian, his response is, holy shit, we're the fucking same person or same version. And I was like, just the idea of saying super Christian and the response is, holy shit, we're the same.
Jesus Christ, we're on the same page.
I was dying. But yes, apparently the tattoo on his body that has open spots for his future children, but not significant other. I wasn't sure. A reason for them to move forward.
Which, by the way, Jessica's like concerned about his age, but like judging by emotional maturity, I mean, sorry guys, we're really picking on Barnett again a lot today, but how old is he? 28, 30?
Yeah.
And
Mark is way more, it seems way
Barnett
more
is stunted.
Mark seems way more emotionally mature. When she's having the conversation with Barnett versus Mark, it feels like reversed. It feels like almost like Mark's the oldest and Jessica's having a conversation with Mark, and then she goes and she meets up with Barnett, and Barnett is like the college guy who she's like having sex with, who's just kind of like, oh, what? That was super hot. That's what it feels like. But she is like throwing her body over the couch, like in full orgasm at his description of his tattoo.
I know. And then they're picking out kids' names next thing you know.
Yes. And he is like taking deep breaths. Like he is super into her. Super into her. But then, did you notice, by the way, she then goes and talks to the women. Did you notice how her voice changes like drastically? Like to the point where I was taking notes and I was hearing her talking to Mark, and then she went into the women's their dorm, and she's talking about Mark, and I had to stop it, and I was like, who's talking? Because her voice was unrecognizable. It's
actually really true, because I was curious as I was listening to her. I didn't quite pick up on it so clearly as you did, but it was more subtle for me, where I was like, wait, I thought I hated her voice, and like now it's really not bothering me.
Yes. In the pods, she's got this crazy, like, oh my God,
baby voice.
Baby Mark.
Baby voice.
And then she goes with the women, and she's like, has this like normal,
Yep.
Not normal, but like,
Yep.
Not that crazy high-pitched little baby voice.
Yep.
Which again sets off my alarm bells, where I go, oh, I think we're gonna see a different side of Jessica.
Before we go into see what happens more, I can't do segues.
Yes.
Should we take a quick break?
Let's take a quick break. So in the past, I have not been the best or most consistent sleeper. It felt like the littlest disruption would wake me up, and I would either be awake the rest of the night or would fall back asleep with such poor sleep quality. It basically made me feel as rested as if I would have never went back to sleep in the first place. And apparently my child took this trait from me as well. She's the exact same way. And take it from someone who knows, broads, restorative sleep is crucial to overall health.
I cannot live without this product.
Nope.
Seriously.
Nope.
Jess and I, and everyone in our families, literally use yoga sleep products. They're basically the godfathers of restorative sleep products, because they've been around for over 50 years, and they invented the very first white noise machine. Talk about game changer. Mm-hmm. It's safe to know. It's safe to say that they know what they're doing, because I sleep with their white noise machine every night. Ruth sleeps with one in her room every night. And it's totally changed the way we all sleep. Grayson just can't sleep without a white noise machine, plain and simple. So he actually already had one. Like, he already had a yoga sleep noise machine before we even moved in together.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. Mm-hmm. Well, I love mine so much, and I immediately got one for Ember's room, and also an extra one for when Evan and I travel. It's so soothing and really blocks out disruptions to assure we all sleep soundly through the night, no matter what. I know for myself, I'm the best version of me when I get a solid 6 to 8 hours of restful, deep sleep, and I truly don't think it would be possible without the help of my yoga sleep white noise machine. And as for Ember, we used to have like 3 sound machines in her room because they couldn't cancel out all the noise, and Ember needed all the noise canceled out. And oh my God, it was like a jet engine in her room. Well, Yoga Sleep's Dome sound machine used this fan-based sound that fills the entire room. It cuts out all the sound and isn't unbearably loud, which I love. So guess what? I only use the one Dome sound machine now instead of the 3 jet engines, and it is so much more soothing.
Go to yogasleep.com/chatty to save an exclusive 20% off a sound machine for natural sleep for the whole family. Guys, it really works. It's awesome. That's yogasleep.com/chatty to get 20% off. yogasleep.com/chatty. And if you're looking that up, Yoga Sleep is one word. yogasleep.com/chatty. Also, it's one of those weird things where I don't remember that it's there until I turn it off. Like, doesn't sound like anything.
Yes.
But when it's off, I'm like, holy shit, because I can hear every fucking thing going on.
The other ones can be kind of aggressive if you're turning them up louder, which you need to. Yeah,
no, this one we keep it on all day without realizing it, because it's so, yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, broads, if you know me, you know I'm a planner, big time. So when I heard about the whole social distancing thing, I started a list of things that I could do to keep myself occupied during this quarantine. And one of the things at the top of my list is, of course, my favorite phone game, Best Fiends.
Best Fiends is a casual way to pass the time but still engage your brain. And they update the game monthly with new levels and events so it never feels old, which, thank God, because at this rate, I will take anything to make this social distancing period go as fast as possible. And Best Fiends is so much fun to play, and the graphics are crazy good. All the creatures are cute, and the bad guys are slugs, which resonates with me because you know how much I hate slugs.
I know, this is your perfect game.
I hate them.
I love it because it's a nice break from obsessively scrolling through social media or updating my news app. At some point, you got to turn some of those things off and mix it up. And Evan and I now have both downloaded the Best Fiends app and game, and we love to have a little friendly competition, okay? Loser does the dishes for the week, which means I am extremely motivated to beat him. Of course, if there aren't crazy high stakes like dish duty on the line, the game is super casual. You can play as much or as little as you feel like.
Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. And trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play. You download Best Fiends for free. By the way, we didn't mention it's for free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Okay, so we see Jess say that Mark is her front runner. That's also when we hear her say that she wants to be a mom more than anything. And then we go and we see Barnett and Jessica in the pod.
See, and like Mark's probably going to be serious about having kids soon.
He totally can see that. Yeah. And Barnett and Jess are in the pod and he asks her, like, what would you want your husband to be doing when you come home? And she's like, basically hanging out on the couch waiting for me. And you see him mouth like, wow, she's the one. He's like vibing on this so hard. And I was like,
also, what a weird question.
Yeah, what would you want your husband doing when you come home?
Washing the fucking dishes. Cleaning the house, tending to the children while I'm out living my life with my girlfriends. That's what I want him doing.
I would want him
home.
to not be home. Okay, I want to come home to an empty house, and I want to know that he's out just making shit tons of money.
I want dinner on the table for me while he's out supporting our family. But I want the house looking immaculate. I want dinner on the table. Yeah, that's what I expect in my partner.
Sorry, just so you know.
She said on the couch.
On the couch.
But she's the type that ends up with these kind of dudes.
That's what I'm feeling.
That's why she's single at 34. It's because she's always with the fucking Barnetts of the world. And her girlfriends are always like, Jessica, why are you dating this guy? And she's like, but it's different when it's me and him.
Literally just nailed it on the head. Like, completely. See, and that's the problem. I feel like that's why I feel like she's going to go for Barnett. Because that's just like what she's used to.
Or she's going to ruin it with Mark if she ends up with him.
I know.
Right?
Well, Barnett does have a softer moment. And so then I did have this quick little thought, which I don't think this is true, but you never know because we're only one episode in. I right away thought, like, is Mark someone who puts up this whole fuckboy energy, but it's kind of just a facade, and he's going to be heartbroken if Jess actually picks Mark, and is he going to be the one who like pines for Jessica the whole time? I don't know. I don't get this energy. I don't think this, but I'm just trying to play the other end in case all of a sudden it turns out that Barnett's like this super sensitive guy deep down, and we're kind of like, wait, what? Jess now doesn't know if she's more into Mark or if she's into Barnett more. We start day 4, Cameron and Lauren, the glory couple.
They remind me of like staying up late talking with your freshman year crush.
I know, I'm obsessed.
Or like a long distance relationship. And they said, I love you.
I couldn't. Okay. When he says that he's been thinking about her nonstop and like, then Cameron starts talking about how he's a little bit like nervous and flustered because he's feeling like, I feel like I have to look good for her. And I'm like, he's not talking about like her looking good for him. He's worried about looking good for her. And then Lauren out of left field goes, Cameron, I think I love you. And without hesitation, he's like, I love you. And there's tears in both of their eyes. I believe every piece of it. I am on the floor. I'm like crying. Why am I crying? It's too much for me to handle. Like the
Let's
chemistry.
Call it right now. Do they make it to the end? Like they're married, they're happy together?
If they don't work, number 1, I will be devastated. Number 2, I think that it would maybe be like a family issue. But if they are able to work through all that, I would assume, yeah.
I think they're still together, yeah.
It just was like, you can't make that shit up.
It's real.
That was like, and also, like, you have 2 people who, when you see them in their interviews, seem like they really have their heads on straight. Like he, seems like he's like very, very thoughtful. Clearly, he's very like analytical. Seems right away like she's able to kind of joke, but also not, I don't know, she's letting things roll with the punches with some of these idiot guys making these comments to her. He's 28, she's 32. I don't know. They seem like they really have their heads on straight, and they don't seem like the type of people. I would be surprised if we found out later from their friends, if like when they then, you know, maybe go home, if the friends and family are like, well, this happens a lot. So, you know, like a Peter situation where his parents are like, well, he does this, so we want to make sure that he's, you know, he can be a romantic. I would be surprised if we found
saw
out.
the clip when I think it's her parents asking him, have you ever been in a room with all black people?
Well, and then Lauren earlier in the episode said that she's only dated black men before. So I'm very interested for her to see Cameron when they first see each other. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. So I'm fully like, the tears are
invested,
streaming.
yeah.
But again, you see him saying like he thinks maybe that he might be rash, but he can't help how he feels. Again, let's remember this is like an engineer. This guy seems very like thoughtful, maybe like a 5 on the Enneagram. Like he's not this guy who's just like, I love you so much.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem that way. And they talk about how they trust each other, which this experiment is just so interesting to me. Like how it seems like they really, I don't know, like they really like feel that way and mean it and believe it. And then Cameron says, if we get married, that's it for me. We have to make it work. He's bawling. Okay. Lauren's like, I wish I could hold you. I was out the door. I couldn't handle it. It was just too much. It was too beautiful for me.
Well, then we jump to
Carlton and Diamond,
which he is revealing he hasn't always been confident. And I was like, yep, that's like, obvious.
Gotcha.
Well, then we find out that in his interviews that he's bi.
Yes. He says that he's a hopeless romantic, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then he has a big secret. He said he's just attracted to hearts, which I thought was like a very sweet way to put it. Yeah. So we find out he's bi. But then he makes a couple comments that were interesting to me. He said that he's been with both men and women. Like gender wasn't an issue for him, he says, but now he's looking for a wife. That's now specifically what he's looking for, which I feel like I may get heat for this, but I feel like my heart hurts for him.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like this is probably something that he feels pressured, or maybe because of like insecurities, or like you said, because of, you know, having troubles when he was like growing up or whatever. The fact that, you know, as a bi person, that he's now specifically looking for a wife, not just looking for a heart. He said before.
And, you know, I also understand it because it's part of just like wanting to achieve normalcy in your own life with your family, with people. And, you know, one of my best friends, she is bi, and she was like, yeah, I'm only going to date guys because it's just easier with my family. And I know it's like it's difficult for some people to hear, and it's difficult as a person, but then it's also understandable. It's like, yeah, your life's going to be a hell of a lot easier if you can just be in a hetero relationship, if you have that option.
Yeah, it just made me feel sad. Like, I mean, yeah, so then he says,
well, his reason is what then upset me too. All of this aside about him dealing with his bisexuality, which has got to be so difficult, not only to be just a bisexual man, which is already hard enough, but he's also a bisexual black man, and there's just like a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he says, I want a wife because women are a nurturing presence I can't find with men. And I'm like, oh, so you want a part-time mommy, aka someone to like...
Yeah, that statement just threw me off.
And again, I'm seeing this thing of like free emotional
that he doesn't
labor
get from a guy. Yeah. The whole thing was just like, it felt a little off, and I just feel like this is then where I was sensing more with like him and Diamond that there's maybe going to be problems. Because Diamond definitely seems like someone who's her own person, who seems very strong and very confident. Like the fact that in the last conversation she was talking about like, I trust my person, like you do you have your own life. Like I'm interested to see then like in real time him kind of being like he wants this like nurturing love and affection, and then leaning too heavy, and Diamond being like, you know, like, how's that, you know, yeah, sometimes, but I'm also my own person too, and how's this gonna work? And
also, how is she gonna react to him revealing his bisexuality, which is what it looks like is going down in the previews.
Okay, is that what you think it is?
100%.
Okay.
Because he's saying I've been nothing but honest, and she's feeling like I'm deceiving her, or it was something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So I definitely think that's what's going on.
My guess is that that's about something else. I think she's going to handle it well. We'll see. But I have a feeling. that she's going to take it in strides.
I'm calling it right now. She's going to be upset.
Okay. All right.
So,
and he says that he's scared to talk about it with someone because he's scared that the person might walk away because of his fluidity. So we'll see. Okay, so then the next day 5, we see Mark with a guitar on his back, and I'm like, please, God, don't do it, Mark. Don't go into the pod and play music for Jessica.
Granted, there's no better situation than to be in a pod where you can just sing to someone.
Where they don't have to,
where they can make music and you don't have to look at them while they're playing.
The only way that I'd be okay with that is because I don't have to make eye contact with them while they're playing.
That's actually, yeah.
That I could just maybe enjoy their music. But I was just like, no, Mark, don't do it. She's already between you and Barnett, and if you bring the guitar into the pod, she's going to go fully for Barnett.
This isn't Bachelor, listen to your heart. Oh, which, by the way, we will be recapping that because that's the only thing that's pre-taped.
That's it, so we're for sure recapping that. Sorry if you're upset about
Buckle up, broads.
We're going to get real musical and
Who
real
knows
weird.
when the next time is we'll have Bachelor content.
We have to do it for ABC. For ABC.
Always be Cam.
Always be Cam.
Now I really believe
always
in
be
it with
Cameron.
this Cam. And always be Cameron.
Oh my God, I love him so much.
Oh my God, yeah.
So Mark and Jessica are talking. He immediately
is like, what I was talking about.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So he immediately says, Mark and Jess, he immediately says that he knew Jess was the one right off the bat. She's right away saying he's the cutest thing ever. And I'm like, as soon as like the "you're so cute" starts coming out when she's in between two guys, this is not a good sign.
Yep, that's what I thought
because
too.
now she's just like, Mark is sweet, but Barnett is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Jessica and Mark are definitely like, they're vibing. She's emotional with him, and I think she really does like him, but I don't know.
You're right. Your cute comment was like,
the cute comment was a little, okay. But Mark then at one point says, I want you. And I am literally like, this is so hot. Like this is now when like I'm derobing in the pod, pushing my nude body up against the Wait, can you see this?
See me?
Mark, can you see this?
You can't even see. God damn it.
You can't even see anything at all. Are you sure? I'm right behind this glass. Push up against it, please. I can feel you breathing. I can feel your heartbeat. Oh.
I can feel you breathing. Press up against the glass on your side so we can be closer.
Oh my God, I can feel the heat from your body. Oh. But Mark's then asking, like, if I do ask you to spend the rest of your life with me, like, where's your mind at? And then at that moment, then too, I was like, I was like super into it when he said that I want you.
Now
but
you're
now
like,
I'm,
why are we talking about marriage again?
I'm putting my clothes back.
Zip back up. And okay.
Okay, this is a little too fast for me. But she then says that she can see them walking out together, but she still seems a little hesitant to me. And then we see Mark talking with the other guys, and he's clearly like loudly letting it be known that him and Jess hit like a big checkpoint because he knows that Barnett is also after Jess. So he wants Barnett to be like, hey, Barnett, Jess and we hit a big checkpoint today. Just so you know.
Good luck with that, bud.
I told her I wanted her. She said she could see herself leaving with me. And then we see Barnett in a corner talking with a guy named Rory, who we haven't been introduced to.
I know there's these random people that we just haven't seen.
And Rory is like Barnett's life coach. Like, who is Rory? He is. I
saw him popping up a little bit here and there throughout the episode. I'm like, who is this guy? Maybe we'll see him next episode. Maybe he just didn't find someone.
Yeah, he's like coaching Barnett, and you know, Barnett, we find out for sure he's into Jessica the most. I think, like I said, I think he likes her because there's competition. I think now all of a sudden he's the most into Jessica because there's another male present who is competing with him, and he seems kind of like that type of guy to me. And then Lauren and Cameron, and she's like 5 days in and I know who my future husband is. Cameron knows Lauren's the one, and he's like, I'm ready to propose. And now
he did propose.
I'm like, what is going on?
And then he did. He proposed to the wall.
If you would have told me that there was a proposal in the very first episode, I would have kept watching after those first 30 minutes. Are you kidding me? He proposed. He put a suit on. He is a rose. He is pressed up against the glass. He asks if she's up against the glass. He makes her come over, and then he gets down on one knee and he proposes
actually somehow
to her.
Cute.
I know, because they're like, anything that they do to me is just precious. She has her hand pressed up against the glass. You know?
They're
very
both
wholesome.
They're both like so genuine and real.
They are so genuine and real. And if I find out otherwise, if I find out that there's weird tea, I'm going to be devastated. Okay,
love isn't real.
Love is not real. So she says yes.
And they're both also really attractive people, and so it's like there's not going to be any disappointment on either side when they see each other.
They're both super cute.
And they love each other.
And they love each other. They're he's like grabbing the wall, and she's like, it was just very emotional. And then we find out that they finally get to see each other tomorrow.
Yes.
Then the next day we're back with Jessica.
She's into both dudes.
She's into both men.
Oh my God. So she sits down with Barnett, and Barnett says, I'm hearing things. And she's like, I'm hearing things.
Yes. Hey, Barnett, remember how there's 3 women on your side and then there's 2 on Jess's side?
Okay, Jess, this kills me. Then they're talking about this, and correct me if I heard this wrong, but he says, if there was no one else here, I would propose to you tomorrow.
He said...
Isn't that not what he said?
He said, if this place had no other guys and no other girls, I'd propose to you tomorrow.
Is that supposed to be...
I'm like, is that a compliment?
Am I supposed to be reassured by that? That sounds like if I wasn't talking to other bitches, I'd propose to you.
And Jess is like,
what?
You would? She's literally like on the edge of her seat, like, oh my God, you would?
That's when I was like, it's over for this poor girl.
I know. It's game over. And then she literally says, like...
Well, I couldn't believe that. It was like...
She's like, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to do to, like, reassure you? Like, if you need me to pull the plug on these other things tomorrow, I will. And I'm just kind of like, great. Barnett's about to get bored really fast. Because you just cave like that, and we're like, I'll do anything. Just tell me and I'll pull the plug.
He, by the way, she would sleep with him on the first date. No shade about that. And then would be like, why he's not coming back? Probably because like he just is really busy. Yes. And I know that he's a career person. And he just like, well, I slept with her, so bye.
They choose each other. And then she is like very like he gets bored. Or she pulls a fast one on Barnett and picks Mark, and
which
Barnett
actually might happen.
Maybe, and Barnett is devastated,
and then goes with Amber.
And then goes with Amber, but he's devastated because like no one's ever rejected him.
We didn't see a lot of LC with him, which makes me think that she ends up with somebody else. And they're just trying to make her look a little bit more like a player for being into 3 girls. That's
definitely a possibility.
I think he ends up with Amber, but also I'm just also going by the previews, and it looks like he's with the girl with brown hair.
Oh yes, but I feel like it's Amber. I feel like him and Amber are making out in the ocean.
Yes.
And then we see a nude Lauren. Okay. Or not Lauren, excuse me, a nude Jessica.
Fully nude. Like what?
Yeah.
Okay, Netflix. Hi.
Okay, Netflix, we see you. Love is blind. Okay, so Cameron and Lauren, it is like, she is looking so stunning. It's ridiculous.
I know.
I am living for her like Olive and his maroon energy. They're about to unite. The colors are perfection together. And then, I mean, we don't see them like coming together. We just see her, and she keeps adjusting her perfect breasts. I'm just like, girl, they look good. Trust me.
She's snatched from head to toe. She looks great.
They look great. And Cameron, like you can tell, legitimately wanted to test this hypothesis to see if love is blind, and he is finding out that it sure seems like it is. And then we get a preview for the next episode, and I mean, this shit looks wild. We see people proposing.
We see so much. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about.
I couldn't handle how much was coming in. But then I started to think, in one 50-minute episode, we saw so much already. Like, we are about to get, like, this is going to get wild.
Oh, so crazy.
And so we see, we see people proposing. People like, I didn't think he looked like that. Jessica is saying that physical attraction can build. So whoever...
Mark. It's Mark.
You think it's Mark?
She's with Mark.
Or else she's with Barnett and she's just like, I'm used to hotter zaddies.
No.
And you're kind of...
She's with Mark. She's with Mark.
Well, then, yeah, we see Diamond's... I think Diamond splashing a drink, and I think Carlton's face. We see people getting married. We see a literal runaway bride eating it. And then the pops up, will age matter? Will race matter? Will looks matter? All this stuff. I can't even believe it. I'm so excited, broads. So excited.
I'm excited to see the other couples.
Yeah, me too.
Because the only one I have faith in, it's Lauren and Cameron.
I mean, so far, same. So just so you broads know, because of the quarantine and probably like, you know, people aren't running to come record because it's pretty much just me and Bekah, we will be taking Love is Blind one episode at a time. So Tuesday, it's going to be episode 2. If you want to follow along, if you haven't watched the show or you want to rewatch, Thursday will be episode 3. We're mostly going to be going through, I think maybe we'll pop an episode here and there in on a Thursday. That's a non-Love is Blind episode. We'll keep you updated. But yeah, because of the situation, we're going to be taking our sweet time. If you don't like Love is Blind, sorry. But I will say, if you've only watched the first episode of Love is Blind, do me a favor.
Or like the first half of the first episode, like we did.
Finish the first episode because it gets better. And I've heard that the second episode gets even crazier. So just like, you know, you're probably stuck inside. Just barrel through it and let's recap together. Okay? Sound good? All right, broads.
Oh, man. What an episode.
I can't wait.
Chat soon.
Chat soon, broads.